Hello, I'm Dr. Harper. This video is in Memo4 in Business Management of Operations, BUSN 6630, Memo4 inventory, which is quantity discounts. So let's bring up the memo. Now this memo, first it starts with the inventory manager of the warehouse has typically ordered a quantity of 780 each time an order is needed for one of their popular tires to take advantage of the discount provided by the supplier and save the company money. So right up the front, the inventory manager wants to save the company money. So he has good intentions. The following discount schedule has just been received reflecting recent changes in the discount percentages. The manager still maintains that an order quantity of 780 is the best since it will save the company the most money because of the quantity discount. And he's correct in that sense. You get a 10% discount, and so you're buying it from your supplier for $28.80 instead of $32. So it is saving the company money. Assume this tire is expected to have a constant demand of 1560 tires over the next year, and the inventory carrying cost is determined as a percentage of the acquisition cost, as is usual for quantity discount problems, as we said in the lecture. Although they do not know the unit ordering cost or unit carrying cost per dollar of inventory, they reported a total ordering cost and a total carrying cost for last year with a lot size of 780 and acquisition cost of 2880. So last year they did order that, and that's what their costs were. The unit cost will apply to next year since no significant change in operations has happened. The president of the company would like to know if the manager is correct in his reasoning or whether another quantity might be better and why. The president, Ms. Dawn Deertracker, not the manager, has contacted us to provide her this information to present at the next planning meeting. Since she has been newly appointed to make changes in the company, and the manager has historically set the inventory policies, she has demonstrated trust in our ability to provide a quality analysis by retaining us as one of her first consulting projects in inventory. Make this a little bigger. So that right there kind of sets the mood of this, because the president, Ms. Dawn Deertracker, is new. She's bringing us in, third party, and so recognize the situation in this communication. This is going to be a communication to provide her what does she want? Is the manager correct in his reasoning? So let me highlight that. That's the first thing she wants to know. And so the memo should reflect that. Is the manager correct in his reasoning? If so, why? If not, why not? So be careful you answer what is being asked. Unfortunately, a lot of times students will look at this and say, oh, well, let's see, let me work this quantity discount problem. There's the answer. It really didn't answer what she asked. She says, is the manager correct in his reasoning? And the second thing, whether another quantity is better, might be better, and why. A lot of people say, oh, well, this is the optimal policy. Why is it optimal? Why is it better? So talk about why it's better. So those are the two things that we need to address, or you need to address, us as a team, you as the communicator, on how to communicate this to our client, Ms. Dawn Deertracker. And finally, prepare a response memo to the president that adequately addresses her request with content suitable to be useful in the next planning meeting. Address the reasoning given by the manager in your response memo. Prepare a separate technical memo to me outlining the details of your analysis. Prepare a video based on a PowerPoint presentation for the president to present to her planning committee that would satisfy her request and be acceptable to her manager, her manager, and the members of the planning committee. And notice who the audience is. It is for the president to present to her planning committee. And so it's someone else is going to be presenting it. So you're not presenting it. You're giving it to her so she can present it, okay? And so she can talk about it. So it has to be very clear. It has to be understandable by the president, the manager, and also the members of the planning committee, because that would satisfy her request and be acceptable to her, her manager, and the members of the planning committee. Okay, so the memo is really about communication. Know your audience, know the subject matter, and how you're going to communicate that to achieve these goals. Okay, let's work the problem. First of all, here are the discounted acquisition cost or item cost, same thing. Now this paragraph here tells us the actual unit cost that we need, but they're not given. They do not know the unit ordering cost or unit carrying cost per dollar, but they give us the total cost. And so let's break this down, the total cost and total carrying cost. Whoops. Let me do it this way. There we go. Total ordering cost and total carrying cost, we are given those. Okay, so let's look at the total ordering cost. Total ordering cost equals the order frequency times the unit ordering cost. Okay, well, we know what the total ordering cost is. It's 50, right? But then what is the frequency? Well, our demand is 1560. 1560 divided by the lot size, which is 780. 780. Let's see here. Pushed the wrong thing there. Total ordering cost equals the order frequency times the unit ordering cost, which is equal to 50, equals the order frequency is 1560 divided by 780 times C sub O. Okay, so we can solve this for C sub O. Okay, we'll do that here in just a minute. Okay, and then the total carrying cost will equal, and okay, on this case, we're assuming, I think somewhere I say there's no safety stock. So we're assuming no safety stock. So it's going to be Q over 2 times I times C sub C. Now remember, it is the percentage of the acquisition cost as is usual for discounted problems. Okay, well, we have the total carrying cost, 7605. That equals a lot size Q, which is 780, divided by 2, times I, that's what we want, times C sub C. Oh, sorry, I times C. I times C, where again, C is 780. Okay, and there it is. Okay, so now that we have this, now we have the unit ordering cost and the unit carrying cost. Whoops, I did the wrong thing there. 2880. Okay, so this is, I put Q in there. There we go, I need to get these numbers right. Q over 2, Q is 780. I is what we're trying to find. And C here is the acquisition cost, which is 2880. Okay, I got the numbers right. And so there we go. And there they are. Okay. And then from this, we go through the quantity discount problem to solve it. So let's solve it together. So let's do it. So let's bring up Canvas. Let's bring up Excel. Okay, let's first let's put these in here. Actually, let's start with this here. Let's bring this down over here. Bring this up. Okay. Okay, let's have the categories. And we have 0 to 389. We have 390 to 779. And then we have 780 plus. Okay. And so we don't need the discounts here, so let's just put these costs in, these three costs right here. Now let's go ahead and put them all in while we're here. which are right here. So we have our discount percentages, and we have our item cost. And there it is. Now remember, the way we do this is, first of all, we want our initial Q, okay, and then we want our feasible Q, and then 3, we want the total cost. Okay, so that's how we do this. But first, we have to get the unit cost here. So down here, we know what our demand is. Let's put it right here. Our demand equals where's it at? 1560. Right there it is. Whoops. Equals 1560. Make this a little bigger so we can see it. And I'll go here and solve this stuff in a minute. And then we have our total ordering cost equals and total carrying cost equals. Total ordering cost, again, is going to equal 50. Total carrying cost is 7605. Okay. Okay, now over here, this is, let's just say 4Q equals, it was for 780, right? And here for the C sub O equals, that's going to equal, remember, it's going to be our demand, right? Where's it at? Divided by, well, first of all, it's going to be 50. Whoops. Here's our equation right here. It's going to be 50 here, divided by, parenthesis, and it's going to be our 1560 divided by 780, because that's our frequency. So we have a unit ordering cost of 25. Then we have our I here. And so, well, we're going to have to probably solve this also. Let's bring this over here. Let's bring this bigger here. So right here, let's bring this over here and solve for I. So I will equal, okay, first of all, it's going to be 7605, parenthesis, and then it's going to be 780 over 2 times 2880. Okay, so now let's bring back Excel and let's solve this thing. That's going to equal 7605 divided by, open parenthesis twice, and just say 780 over 2, close parenthesis, times, open parenthesis, 2880. And it's going to be, that's our cost per dollar, 67.708 cents. Okay, percent, I mean. So now that we have that, now let's enlarge this and let's go through and solve this thing real quick. Okay, remember here, this just equals the EOQ equation. The square root of 2 times your demand, which is given here, times our ordering cost, which is given here, divided by, open parenthesis, I times C, which is I, which is given there, times C, which is given right here. Okay, and we have 60. Okay, and we can do the very same thing. The only thing that's going to change is the D4. And so we can see here, D4 is the only thing that's going to change. So E10 is fixed. E9 is fixed. and C8 is fixed, correct? So now we can copy this down. Boom, boom. And there we go. Because we're going to change these, but keep the same EOQ. So here's EOQ. What's our feasible EOQ? Well, 60 is in the range, so it's just going to be 60. Good. Here, this is not in the range, it'll be 390. Good. This is not in the range, it'll be 780. Good. Now the total cost. Okay, so we're going to do this again. So here, the total cost will simply be, first of all, the carrying cost. Okay. And that's going to be Q over 2, and it's going to be, let's back up here. And remember, we're going to be using the feasible Q. Let me shade that in just a little. Well, let's box it in. And then shade this in just slightly. Okay. And then we'll be using these costs. Box and shade, just so we don't get mixed up. Just so I don't get mixed up. Okay. Equals, first of all, the carrying cost. Okay. So it's going to be Q over 2 times IC, that's going to be I, okay, and that's going to be, freeze that, times C, which is 32, and that's going to change on us, right? I'm sorry. Yep, I times C, and that will change on us. Okay, plus the ordering cost. So that's going to be D over Q. Here's D. Fix that. Divided by Q. And Q is going to be the feasible Q here. That's going to change on us. And then let me just close parenthesis and come back here. Open parenthesis. Okay. Times the ordering cost, which is going to be that. And we're going to fix that. Okay, plus our acquisition cost. And that's just our demand. Fix that. Times our unit cost, item cost. And that's going to change. Okay. So if we copy this down, they all should be about the same, a little different. Looks like it looks good to me. Yep, looks good to me. Let's just go down to the nearest dollar. And there we go. Okay, now which one is the lowest? Let's see here. What's the minimum? If this equals the minimum of all of these, bing, 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 fix them, then actually say, I'll just say boom minimum. Otherwise blank. There we go. Oh, that is the minimum. The other two? Yep, the other two are not. That is the minimum. Actually, what's the difference? Difference between one. What's the difference here? It's going to be equal this minus this, and this will equal this minus this. Say, okay, well, you know, here is what the manager is doing. The order is 780. It's going to be 52. You know, you can save $1,000, $363 by going to 60. Okay, if you went to 390, you'd be saving $1,045. Okay, but then what's the difference between these two? Let's say this is difference 1. This is difference 2. And essentially this is going to say, well, this minus this, you're saving $318 is all, doing 1 instead of 2. Okay. Well, now that we have this, we have our lot sizes here. Let's come over here and look at our Q. Actually, let me just say equals this and bring this down. And let's analyze this because they're going to want to know which one is better and why. Well, we can see the cost here, but there's more to inventory than just cost. for example, what's the frequency? What's the order frequency? Well, that's simply just going to be D F4 divided by Q. D over Q, right? So I can bring this down. So there's the order frequencies. So we do have costs, but we have order frequencies too. So this is on the purchasing, the actual buyers, the purchasing department. But what about the average inventory? Okay. Well, that is just going to equal simply this divided by 2. Okay, and then bring this down. So there's our average inventory. Well, this is the warehouse. Okay, so we can start comparing these different policies on how they affect the purchasing department and the warehouse. And then finally, we have our total cost here. Okay, so let's bring this up. Let's look at this now. And so what do we want to say? Well, at this point, let's bring our consultants together, you, me, everybody else. And what do we want to tell them? Well, yes, this is going to be the highest cost. Okay, actually, let me bring this down here. And then let's bring this down. Bring the categories down. And let's make this big enough so we can see it. There we go. Okay, now. There we go. Okay, now, yeah, in this first category, it will, well, let's bring this down too. Anyway, this is going to be the minimum. Okay, but let's see here. I want to get all this information in here because it's all good. So we can talk about it, right, guys? Let's bring this down. There we go. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. Okay. Getting there. I want it to be where, there we go. Now we can talk. Okay, first of all, notice that for this first category, for here's what the manager is doing. It is saving the company the most money because of the item cost, but you have carrying cost and you have ordering cost. And as it turns out, this is going to be the minimum cost because you can save $1,363 over this lot size here. Okay. And so what I didn't calculate down here was, I guess I could calculate the total ordering cost, the total carrying cost, and then the total cost, total acquisition cost, and then, whoops, total acquisition cost, and then the total cost. So I didn't do that. I guess we could do that, couldn't we? I'll let you do that if you wish. And we can make a graph of it, just like I did in the notes. But the point is, this is the total cost right here. This is the cheapest way to go. So if only cost is important, then this is probably what you would do. Okay, so that's going to be the minimum cost. And let's shade that in. That's good. That's fine. But then let's look at the frequency here. Well, here our frequency was 2. Now, if we go to the minimum one here, we're telling these people, oh, you know, you're ordering twice a year. Once every 6 months, you're placing an order. Now, we're going to shift and just order 60. And you're going to be ordering 26 times a year, once every 2 weeks. So, oh, really? 10 times more work? We'll be ordering every 2 weeks? Now, okay, we don't have the people for that. Maybe we need to hire more people, or maybe our people need to work 10 times harder with 10 times more work. You know, we have, what do we have, 3 videos in here, four memos? Well, to optimize, minimize cost, maybe we need to be 40 videos. Go, wait a minute, that's a lot of work. So the impact here is going to be significant. Okay, so even though the cost is here, then this is going to be the lowest frequency for the warehouse. Now, what about inventory? Well, we're carrying 390. And if we go to 30, well, we have people on board handling the 390. Going to 30, then we're going to order much less. We're going to come in more and handle it more frequently. So even though we're not carrying a lot of inventory, we're carrying smaller amounts, but the turnover is going to be extremely fast. And so we have to have a whole different type of warehouse operation if we have an average inventory of 390 versus 30. Okay, so going from 390 to 30, that could be a very significant type of impact on our system as well. Okay, but then what about this one here? Okay, let's look at this right here. Let's box this in. Well, on this one, you are saving $1,000. The difference between these two is just $317 a year. This is annual. Well, $317 over 12 months is pretty small. Okay, it's not that much, but it does save quite a bit of money over the total one, over the 780 here. But then how much of an impact does it have for the purchasing department? 2 to 4 instead of once every 6 months, once a quarter. That's doable. 390 down to 195. Well, yeah, we don't have to fire people. We can keep the same people, the same operations, but we'll have more time to maybe do quality control. Maybe we can cut down on the cost and create efficiency. Okay, and so the cost here, the difference between these two, is $1,000. The difference between these two is $317. So the difference between these two is small. The difference between these two is much larger for a savings of $317. The difference here is a savings of $1,045. So you have a small impact on your operations with a savings of $1,045, and here you have a significant impact on your operations from the first to the second category for just a savings of $317. So I think how you say that might be very effective to say, well, this is probably the highest cost, but it's the easiest to do. But you're saving money. Okay, your cost is much greater, but it's easy. It's easier for your purchasing department. For your warehouse, they're getting used to having a lot of inventory. If you go all the way to the extreme, you're saving a lot of money, but you're increasing the work here and you're decreasing the ability to use your people. You have idle people you have to let go. So maybe the non-optimal one, cost-wise, becomes the optimal one when you look at the warehouse, the purchasing department, the cost, and the comparison with that to the other cost. This is saving $317 from here. The difference here is $317. Okay, and then from here to here is $1,000. Interesting. So however you want to communicate that, and whatever you pull out of this and show, you can create your video and create your memo. That's a communication I think we need to give them. So is the manager correct in his reasoning? Well, no, because he's not taking into account the order frequency and the carrying cost. I didn't calculate them down here. I guess you could. But also the optimal one, the best one to go. If cost is important, then we'll go with the 60. If it's important for your operations, then you can still save a lot of money, but go with 390 then, these are the options right here. Go with 390 then if your operations are just as important as the cost. Okay, so going with 390 has savings but smaller impact on your operations. So however you want to say that, whatever you feel is important, you've pulled out what you think is important, and then you say it the way you want to say it, the most effective way with what's being requested. Okay, I hope that helps. That's all I have for memo number 4 inventory. I hope this helps, and now that I'm back online, I was able to do this, and I hope this helps a lot to create the memo for this weekend. Until next time I see you, be safe, don't take anything for granted, and